Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking one of the absolutely largest private tech investments in history. And honestly, the financial math behind it is just staggering. Now, if you follow the AI space, you already know things move incredibly fast, but the sheer scale of capital flowing into the industry right now, it just hit a totally new threshold. It's genuinely hard to overstate. We're going to break down the massive numbers, the underlying strategy, and what this all actually means for the future of artificial intelligence. All right, let's just jump right into the math. $350 billion. Just take a second to process that number. $350 billion. This isn't just some big number thrown out in a vacuum. It represents a literal seismic shift in how the largest tech companies on Earth are valuing the foundational layers of AI. This implied valuation is attached to Anthropic, the company behind the Claude AI models. But how in the world did a startup reach this eye-watering valuation in such a remarkably short window of time? Section 1. The record-breaking AI deal. A multi-billion-dollar commitment. So the crucial point here is the actual structure of the deal itself. While the big, flashy headline is this massive multi-billion-dollar sum from Google, they aren't exactly handing over a blank check. The initial tranche provides immediate, highly necessary capital right now. But the catch? The remainder of those funds is strictly contingent on Anthropic actually hitting specific future performance milestones. So yes, it's a massive bet, but it's one that's heavily fortified with risk mitigation. It keeps the pressure firmly on Anthropic's development timeline. And this isn't exactly a corporate blind date. Google was actually one of Anthropic's earliest big investors back in 2023, and they already hold a really significant 14% stake in the company. So this new announcement, it's essentially a massive doubling down on a foundation that they've been quietly building for the last year. Google knows the tech intimately, and they've decided to just absolutely flood it with more capital. Section 2. Anthropic's explosive revenue growth, justifying the valuation. The sheer velocity of their growth is really what's driving these historic checks. Look, at the end of last year, Anthropic's annualized revenue run rate was roughly $9 billion. That's undeniably impressive for a company at that stage. But fast forward to literally this month, and that run rate has rocketed past $30 billion. That is a vertical climb that completely defies typical business gravity, right? It forces legacy players to pay extremely close attention. Think about that. A more than threefold increase in their revenue run rate in under 4 months. When a company accelerates its revenue generation that rapidly, it completely reshapes the math of tech investing. This hypergrowth perfectly contextualizes that massive $350 billion valuation we started with. Investors aren't just paying for what Anthropic is today. They're paying for the blistering speed at which they are actively capturing enterprise market share. Section 3. The Cloud Infrastructure War, where the capital is flowing. Let's be real, AI isn't just magic software. It is incredibly heavy and incredibly expensive hardware. This new capital is earmarked directly for major physical expansions. We're talking upgrading computing infrastructure, developing custom AI chips, and dramatically increasing physical data center capacity. Training and running models like Claude requires a voracious appetite for compute power. To stay relevant, you need server farms, insane cooling systems, and specialized silicon running at full tilt, which literally costs billions. But here is where the competitive context gets absolutely fascinating. Anthropic isn't just quietly taking Google's money. Just days before Google's announcement, Amazon committed a fresh multi-billion-dollar investment of their own. Anthropic has essentially created this billionaire tug-of-war, strategically leveraging immense, fresh capital from two totally different tech titans at the exact same time. It's honestly a masterclass in capitalizing on an industry-wide arms race. Being backed simultaneously by two of the three largest cloud providers in the world puts Anthropic in a remarkably unique position. This dual backing gives them completely unprecedented leverage in those heavy infrastructure negotiations. When you have two major cloud vendors deeply invested in your success, you're going to get the absolute best rates on compute. And crucially, it unlocks massive enterprise distribution channels, embedding Claude directly into the cloud ecosystems that Fortune 500 companies already use every single day. Section 4. Google's strategic dual bet, the competitor paradox. Which brings us face to face with a really fascinating strategic paradox. It's the elephant in the room. Why on earth would a massive company heavily fund a direct competitor? This goes way beyond the raw financial numbers. It's a massive strategic signal from Google that we really need to analyze, because it completely challenges traditional corporate logic. So Google is playing this massive, high-stakes strategic dual bet.
On one hand, they're relentlessly investing immense resources and engineering talent into building their own in-house Gemini models. But simultaneously, they're bankrolling Claude, a direct top-tier rival. They are literally funding the very technology that's competing for their exact same pool of highly lucrative enterprise customers.
So why do it? Well, this dual bet sends a crystal clear signal that Google genuinely believes the artificial intelligence market will be vast enough to support multiple massive winners. The stakes of the AI revolution are simply too high to lose. Google has decided that they fundamentally cannot afford to sit on the sidelines of either race, even if it means writing multi-billion-dollar checks to fund the direct competition. All right, so what's the actual takeaway for us? Here is your 6-month watch list. With an implied valuation of $350 billion, revenue run rates rocketing past $30 billion, and fresh backing from multiple cloud titans, expect to see some highly aggressive, market-shifting moves. Watch for Anthropic to vastly expand its enterprise sales motion. Also, look for the accelerated availability of Claude pushed out aggressively across all major cloud platforms. They now have the war chest to scale their global distribution like never before. And that leaves us with this final provocative thought to ponder. As we watch these incredible investments unfold and fundamentally alter the global economy, we have to ask ourselves, is the enterprise AI market truly vast enough for all these titans to build their own models and coexist as winners? Or, by pouring billions into their own direct competitors, is big tech just hedging a massive bet and buying the most expensive insurance policy in tech history? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on the AI space, and I'll see you next time.